What's up, Sonic fans, and welcome to another episode of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, Sonic movie news, AMC news, and now video game movie reviews. My name is Ethan. With me here is Devin.
My dad would have told me if he was in the Illuminati.
I feel like everyone's father would have told their child if they were part of the Illuminati. But
my backup quote, my original quote was, "I still have you, Daddy." but I just thought the Illuminati one was just a little bit more wackier, so I went with that one. But
out of context for sure. Yes, that quote was from the 2001 July 11th, pre 9/11 2001 epic video game movie Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Yes, the official title is called Lara Croft Tomb Raider because the star of the Tomb Raider games is a bigger name because of her figure in the games. And which is why this movie was made, I'm sure. Lara Croft Tomb Raider was I would say, an extremely successful video game movie. It came out for a worldwide box office of $274 million. So the previous world record holder for video game Hollywood movies was Mortal Kombat at 122. So this more than doubled it. I think it's a gigantic success. And last time we talked about Resident Evil, it made only 102 million. So even afterwards, Tomb Raider would remain at the top for almost a decade?
Yeah.
9 years. It would remain at the top for 9 years in terms of box office success. So it's a very important film in terms of video game films, I would imagine. And that's why we watched it and talking about it today. So, Devin, have you seen this movie back in the day?
I have. I actually have a story about this movie. I think I've told you it before, but I'll tell it for the show. So I used to work at this Boy Scout camp.
I like where this might be going.
Used to work at this Boy Scout camp when I was in middle school in the summers. So my 14-year-old self was sent to the middle of the Adirondacks with 200 other, maybe not 200, but 200 roughly when other scouts were there, boys and children. And let me tell you, there's maybe only one or two women, all right? Maybe. There a week, okay? Maybe someone's mom shows up. And when you're 14, not saying me specifically, all right? I'm a good boy. But other people, you know how angsty they get. The horny meter is through the roof, of course. And I brought Tomb Raider, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, on DVD with a bunch of other movies.
You were everyone's best friend.
And they had, everyone had a bin of that they could keep in this in our clubhouse kind of thing that we would go there after hours and all hang out, play video games. I think I actually someone brought Soul Calibur. I remember we played Soul Calibur and have little tournaments and stuff. But I did bring my bin, and I had snacks in there. I had movies in there or whatnot. And I did bring Tomb Raider, right? And I kid you not, the one time I opened the bin, I was looking through the movies, and I noticed one of them was just without a sleeve. I'm like, what the hell? So I grab it, and it's fucking
No.
Tomb Raider. Someone stole the sleeve.
Because she's on the cover and they wanted to jack off to her.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
And I remember questioning one of my bunkmates. I'm like, someone took this. They're like, no, there's no way. And I'm like, you probably lost it. I'm like, what do you mean I lost it?
How do you lose it?
I'm like, this was in a bin. Someone went out of their way to search for it and grab it, or saw me have it at some other point. And I started thinking of who knows that I had this movie? And I don't remember it anymore, but I think I figured out that it came down to 3 people. And I'm like, those freaking pervs. But so yeah, I have seen this movie a couple times, and I do remember the opening scene and the ending scene, but I don't remember any of the mid stuff. When I was rewatching this, I was like, I don't remember any of this, but I do remember the beginning scene and the ending scene. I've also seen it on FX or whatnot.
It's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I never saw this film, so this was my first time ever watching it, and boy, do I wish I saw something else. I don't know.
Have you played any Tomb Raider games?
So I have played the original Tomb Raider a bit on Steam, actually. I never played it on PlayStation, but I have a collection of all these IDOS games on Steam through some publisher sale I bought. So I tried the original Tomb Raider a bit. Whoops, let me turn that off. I don't know how that got on. I played it a little bit, and I also played the reboot, the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot. I started it 3 times, once on PS3 and twice on PS4. So I feel like I'm very unfamiliar with Lara Croft Tomb Raider, but I kind of know the gist, So I don't really know how much like you kind of need to know from the games in order to watch this movie.
I've only played Uncharted in terms of my Indiana Jones video games. I've never played a Tomb Raider game, ever.
Uncharted was definitely influenced by the original Tomb Raider series, and then Tomb Raider, when it came back around, was definitely influenced by Uncharted, funny enough. But yeah, no, I haven't really played all that much. I know that she's rich, and I know that she hunts stuff and raids tombs, and I know that she likes to roll with two, I don't know if they're silver baller pistols, but she rolls with these two pistols, and I think it's Tomb Raider 2 on PlayStation. You can shoot endangered species with them. So people always, just like how you can look at Indiana Jones just as a concept, not necessarily the actual depictions of him in the movies, and just the idea of these kind of fun treasure hunters and actually how harmful they are to culture and history.
Oh, yeah.
And then
you
combine that. You combine that with this woman that's shooting endangered species with guns, Just as like, oh, the tiger attacks you in this level and you're just pistoling it down. It's just funny. But yeah, no, this movie was a first for me when I watched it last night. And I was not expecting how 2001 this freaking film was going to be in multiple ways. But I don't know. Before we actually dive into like a big recap and discussion, just boilerplate. What do you think about this film?
I think that this movie has some fun moments, but they're, in the general scheme of things, most of this movie is boring. Like it's like a roller coaster that has one drop and it's right in the beginning, and then it's just like a couple little baby bumps at the end, and you're like, okay, that was all right. Like it had moments, but for the most part, it's unforgettable. Like I said, I've seen this movie plenty of times, but I didn't remember like 70% of it from the beginning couple scenes to the ending. I remember the ending and the beginning mostly, and I don't remember anything really in the middle. Like them when they're traveling they go to like Siberia there. Like they went to Siberia. I was like, what? I don't remember them going anywhere in like where there's snow or anything like that.
You know why they went there? Because the first game opens up in snow environment. I guarantee it.
And I also don't remember any of the like supernatural stuff at all. I think I would you'd think I would remember that, but I don't. Don't remember any of like the Velociraptor sounding clay things.
Yes, the
I don't
statues.
And the dude with all the arms.
Yeah,
don't remember any of that.
Which was in Uncharted 2.
Remember the robot. I also say that the humor was at best.
And to me, the humor is at best because no one has any chemistry. If everyone's unlikable, even she's unlikable. I wouldn't even want to call her a dick. She's just unlikable. She's just not a person you would want to associate with. And I don't mean that in terms of she's bad. She's just nothing she has going for her that's like, oh, I want to be friends with her. Or like, was that guy her brother? I don't remember. But like, he doesn't really seem to like her all that much, but the movie wants us to have them like, so I guess, I don't know. In my opinion, this movie has the bones of, so comic book movies are at a formula now. They've nailed it. They know how to make a comic book movie, a movie that feels authentic to the joys and reasons why people read a comic book. And I don't think that we've gotten that with video games yet. We don't have a video game movie in totality yet. But I do think that this movie here has some of the bones in place to make it actually feel like it might be close to being one. I don't think Mortal Kombat was at all. I don't think Resident Evil was at all, really. At all. But this had enough of like, okay, there are a few tombs in there with puzzles that involve, I don't want to say platforming, but positional situations, kind of, you could kind of see how some of these things could be like a video game, like at the end there with they're on like the the thing that's spinning around and they're dodging and ducking.
Need some quick
and
time events there.
That's totally something that could be either a quick time event in Uncharted or like trying to climb this in the original Tomb Raider. You know, like I can see some of that in there, so it's not like, I think that's what it has going for it very well, is that it's definitely trying to be a video game movie. I don't think it's successful, but it's better than Resident Evil and better than Mortal Kombat.
I feel like some of the moments that, like, with the puzzles and stuff, I've seen at Indiana Jones, where, like, he has to the light has to hit his staff, and then it lights a shadow or whatever on the floor, and it's a map. Like, how much of that is video games?
But also remember, that's what the video games were trying to emulate, so...
I guess,
you know what I mean? Maybe that's why it's super easy. And then also, I mean, like, they managed to make, you know, a female-led action movie not feel like things are being dumbed down for her, I guess, you know?
I do have some problems, though, with how... I mean, we can, as we're going through the plot, there's a couple instances. I don't think it's as bad as it could have been, but there is some moments where I'm like, was this necessary? Like, in terms of, like, sexualizing her, making her an object, and less...
I mean... There are two giant stars in this film, and it's not Angelina Jolie, and it's not James Bond there, Daniel Craig. I did read... that's what they're trying to show off. That's why they made this movie.
So I was surfing through the Wikipedia page of this movie, and Simon West, the director, he was talking about, at the time... So, Grant, let's keep this...
it's a pre-9/11 world.
Pre-9/11 world, but also just early 2000s. He mentioned that Angelina Jolie wasn't even their first choice because she wasn't, like you said at the time, she wasn't a big name. Now I think if she did a movie, people will be like, oh yeah, Angelina Jolie, I know who that is. I think Jennifer Lopez was actually considered for the role. A couple other women.
And I bet, I mean, she would probably do a better British accent than Angelina Jolie too.
Yeah. But he wrote, whatever I saw, not he wrote, sorry. Someone wrote what he said in an interview was that, like, he thinks he did a good job of, like, having a character that women can look up to and whatnot. And I'm like, I don't agree
at all.
But to be fair, maybe at the time period that we're in, because I remember when this movie came out, that there wasn't that many. I mean, women.
She answers to no one.
Yeah,
she's capable on her own. She makes decisions on her own. The plot advances because of her actions and her decisions and her thoughts, you know, not being told go here and then she does it because someone told her to go, you know, like there is all of that, but at the same time it's like they really want to make sure that you see them in every frame. There are times when she's hurt on the ground and I'm like, we obviously want to see her face, but the camera wants us to look at her chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would love to I wish we had a woman on this show because I'd be curious to see what they would say. Because I, like, from when I was watching with my girlfriend Bryn, she had that kind of the same comments that I did. Like, after we watched it, I'm like, why was this shot here? Like, this really didn't advance anything. Once we go through, like, the like our recap here, there's one shot in particular where I'm like, that wasn't needed. 100% was not needed.
The shower?
No, that, well, I'm going to argue for that.
I will argue that I want to make the tiny argument that obviously they wanted to make people go see this movie, and one of the easiest ways to do that was to entice people with the sexualization of it. Obviously, that's why this was in there, to get people to go see the movie. 100%. It wasn't an artistic standpoint. I mean, yes, the video game character at that time was definitely shown to be very sexy. Side tangent, I forget what magazine this was, but the contest, I forgot what you had to do, but the winner got to meet, in quotes, Lara Croft. And there's photos of the winner. They just sent some woman dressed up as her. And it's like, it's just really weird, right? But like, that's why they did it. And they know that, yes, if we put a shower scene in here, it is because we want people to not be disappointed at the reason why they came to see the movie. And I'm going to make a tiny little argument that says that shower scene was good because when it went around, you saw another shower scene and you expected it to be her, and instead it was Daniel Craig.
Yes,
it's
fair.
Like, okay. And at first I'm like, and then he walks out naked. I'm like, okay. This is pre-James Bond, and he's looking pretty jacked.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have more comments on that later, but Actually, I'll say my thoughts on the shower thing because I do have another argument that kind of relates in terms of like her being in control, like you said, like she's making her own decisions. So I think we should start the recap because I do have like stuff written down here, and one of them does relate to the shower scene, and Daniel Craig being ripped.
Yes. Okay, so are you ready?
Yes.
It's time for some lore party mix going on. So you made me watch the trailer for it on Amazon first.
Yes.
And it was dumb, right? Extremely dumb. I don't even think it even matched the tone of the movie.
No.
But the movie starts just like how the trailer started, and for a split second I'm like, wait, did I end up watching the trailer again? She's basically in a tomb, and she needs to get this MacGuffin, this thing, and this giant robot's attacking her. Why is it attacking her? And she's doing, I think, very video game-y things of like, oh, the giant brute charges at you, dodge so it hits the wall, and that's how it actually takes damage. Or like, oh, make a thing fall on it right. Some of that, again, like, how much of that is video gamey intentionally, or how much of it is smart ways to have our protagonists do different things that isn't just strafe and shoot like probably like how a lot of video game fights ended up being. She's fighting this thing and it goes on way too long, and there's a scene where she wrestles with a couple arms that clearly aren't resisting her with those saw blades. You can clearly see that she's just holding them. Like, Angelina Jolie is just holding them and moving them, you know what I mean? To fight with them.
I'll give them
instead
credit,
of
though.
them being
CGI
resistant.
In this scene wasn't terrible. Like,
because I think it's very brief and there's a lot of blur on it.
Yeah, which is fine. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like compared to like some things we see on Resident Evil,
where they just show the thing at the end, and I'm like, this is a sci-fi original movie.
Yeah. Yep.
This is Sharknado not campy enough for you? Let's make I don't know, whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, she's wrestling this thing and she kills it, but then it comes back and then it attacks her and she says stop. And it stops.
She says the safe word, Ethan.
She says stop is a pretty good safe word, I guess.
Stop.
Yes. Why teeth? And then she grabs the MacGuffin. It's a little chip, a little microchip, and she plugs into the robot. And the robot's prime directive changes from kill Lara Croft to Lara Croft's party mix. It's just
one song.
It plays. Because it goes on for however long the scene wants it to go on.
Well, I want to hear that whole soundtrack.
But I love it. It is such like basic early 2000s club dance music. But she jives to it like it's fucking Sarah Bareilles, you know what I mean? Like it's touching her. I'm like, what are you doing, woman? So turns out this was all not a real tomb. This was just a little simulation she does to practice her stuff, I guess. Turns out she's a rich heiress to a fortune, and she's an archaeologist, and she has gone on several adventures already. Quick side note, the synopsis for this movie on Amazon Prime says that she's a video game adventurer.
It does not. Oh,
it does.
How did I miss that?
It doesn't say that she is based off the video games. It says that she is a video game adventurer, like as if that is the plot, but it's not. So it's weird.
She played Tomb Raider. She's like, I'm gonna be Lara Croft.
I'm gonna be just like her. Yep, she's mega rich. She lives in a giant mansion. She has a butler who is both incompetent, wise in scenes, but with no payoff, and very unlikable. She's got a brother, boyfriend, cousin, friend,
Hacker
homeless
boy.
man.
Hacker boy. Every early 2000s movie has to have a hacker in it.
I mean, it has to. I mean, we can jump ahead real quick. At the very end of this movie, she looks like Trinity in the Matrix with a white outfit towards the end of the movie. So that's another early
Sadly,
2000s.
we didn't get a... if this movie was more of a grungy goth film, we would have had our slow motion underground goth club scene where everyone's weird. Like, you can't tell anyone's sex, which is totally okay. Everyone's wearing black, has short hair, maybe long hair.
Yeah.
That's what I think this movie was missing. I think it was missing that Blade / Underworld / every other grunge movie scene where everyone's just partying in some.
Well, maybe it would have made it more fun because she is very upset about the robot trying to kill her, even though that's what she wanted, and no one likes each other, but the movie wants to tell us that they do, and like. She's unlikable to these people. And
no live rounds. That's what he says or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I'm glad that they stuck to their guns and it is, at least British people. I don't know if they're in England or not, but like, although the butler kind of seemed like he had an American accent, I don't know. But like,
her brother also says like the same 5 like British
slang, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it got old real quick. It was funny.
She even says bugger all a couple times. It's like, well. This is what the Americans know. But yeah, so she's like super cool, but also I guess not really. But she's done a lot of very successful things, and she's not just inherited the fortune. If there's anything that stories want to tell us about people that inherited large fortunes, it says that they actually deserve it, believe it or not. Stories want to tell us that rich people deserve their money. And she has done things that normal people can't do. Mm-hmm. So good for her that she has had all that money. In any case, I forget what happens next.
This is where the shower scene comes in. It cuts to her.
This is where
she's curling her lips in the shower, and like I remember me being like, "Who does that? Who like in their shower is like, yeah, fucking enjoy
Angelina Jolie does that." Yeah. Then she gets out of the shower, and we get a setup, basically a setup, so we can have a joke later. I guess like this movie's very bad at like. Filling time with things that can be meaningfully called back to later. Like this whole part here is in between important plot parts, and everything in it is meaningless. They could have had. I mean, like there was the call out of like, oh, a lady needs to be modest. She's like, yes, a lady, and like they do call it back at the end, but like none of it really felt like it was worthy screen time.
Here's
what I
my
mean?
argument too for that whole scene, because like she takes the towel off and because she
you see side and under boob, and that was what they wanted.
Everybody, so hide yourselves, hide your hands. I was gonna say here's my argument where I think they could have done it better, because I think a lot of people, there's some people out there who think, oh, women can't be sexy in movies anymore, or like, oh, they're not allowed to be like flaunt their beauty or anything like that. You know what I mean? I think they were trying to do it that scene. I don't believe it, but maybe someone was trying to. The director or whoever was trying to say with that scene that like she doesn't give a fuck, like what the butler thinks or what anyone thinks. She's like, I'll walk around this house naked because it's my place, and I can kind of get down with that. I can kind of get down because she's in charge of her own, body.
I mean, I do that.
You know what I mean? So like, but at the same time, like the shot that they did was, to show side boob and stuff, which is probably the biggest money shot in terms of nudity in this film. Where I'm like, that you're still sexualizing her that way. Like you could have done it maybe differently. I don't know. I'm not an expert at women representation. I try my best, but I think maybe I just felt like it could have been done better if that was where they were trying to go with it. I don't know if they were or not. I'm hoping
at the end of the day, the cinematography and the directing for this scene was by the male gaze. It's just like how people like to. It's in the world of video games. It's the common example people always bring up is Bayonetta. Like she has sexuality and it is her own, and she is not afraid of showing it off, and she uses that to her advantage in ways that are like not misogynistic, but at the same time, the camera is used for very male gaze stuff that undermines it. So it would be different if a woman, legitimately, it would be different if a woman had directed it and a woman was a cinematographer, the person behind the camera in that scene. It would have been shot differently. Even if it had the same intent and same purpose, it would have been shot differently.
I also don't think that it was as bad as it could have been. Like, it could have been more on the nose, maybe, but
I mean, we could have just hanged on her. She could have, instead of kept walking away, she could have just stood still with her back facing to him and talked to him if they wanted to.
It was like a quick whatever thing, which is whatever. But like, there's other shots in this movie as we keep going that I will talk about where it makes me think that no, they weren't trying to do that, and they were just legitimately just being like, "Here you go, boys. You got in early. You got to the theater early, baby. Here you go."
Yes, exactly. So then I know for a lot of this we get flashbacks to how she was a little girl and she lost her father, and even before that she lost her mother, who she never knew, and her father was a famous explorer / archaeologist / whatever, and we get cutbacks to the Illuminati. I know that, but they don't think that they said that they were the Illuminati.
They weren't the Illuminati. It was just like a bunch of old white dudes in some like fancy place. And they said, we don't have time to wait 5,000 years again or whatever. You got to look for the key, which I felt was weird is like, if she never looked for the key or ever brought it to them in the first place, how would they have known she would have had it? Like,
I'm sure
it's her fault that this whole plot even happens in a way. Like her bringing it to the one guy from Game of Thrones, the main villain there.
Yeah.
Like, if she never brought it to him, they would have never known she would have had it.
Hey, guess what? Shadow of the Tomb Raider's plot is basically she is the cause of all the bad things she's trying to protect. She's the reason why everything sucks. Yeah, so, like, I have never played it, so I don't really know, but that's what I've been told. Yeah, so, like, they need to get the thing. If he doesn't get the thing in a week, basically he's fucked. He knows he's fucked. Because they know that they're fucked. Were they trying to imply that they could live for another 5,000 years? I don't think that they were.
They wanted to keep power, but like of what? I don't know. Like they want to control time, but to do what? I don't know.
To guarantee that they would never lose their. See, that's the thing. Like when they say the Illuminati, they never like what we like to hypothesize and conspiracize about the Illuminati in real life, in quotes, is that they're secretly in control of everything. This movie didn't imply that they were secretly in control of anything until like when the Illuminati is brought to the attention of Lara Croft, and her reaction to it is if it is the same in the way that we talk about the Illuminati, I guess.
I don't even know, because when someone says the Illuminati, I think of like a joke, like it's a meme. You know what I mean? Like that's
nowadays, but you think about pre 9/11.
Yeah, what I'm saying, like back then, conspiracy theories were more like not serious, but just there's people out there who like were interested in them and like, oh, that's cool. Like I think the Illuminati back then would have been cool. Nowadays, if you have Illuminati in your plot, I would have like been like whatever. Like
you roll your eyes.
You'd be like, it's stupid.
Yeah. So he's got to do the thing. Meanwhile, so I think this is the night after the shower. She's in bed and she's the night of the shower. She's dreaming, and she's dreaming about one of the last times she ever saw her father, and it's after we see the bad guys talk about the planets aligning that she has the dream about her father talking about the planets aligning.
Still have
we get
you,
the 5,000 years. Yeah, and it's weird that he sets up that it's just in time for Lara Croft to grow up to be a big girl and find it.
I hate when people say big girl, by the way, or big boy. I like it as a joke, but like legitimately, if you call I don't know, maybe just because I'm like scared of pedophiles.
Well,
or something.
I mean, I think it's safe if it is the parent talking to their child, or maybe grandparent.
I think it's just because I have a fear of pedophiles. I don't know.
I mean, that's a reasonable fear, I guess. It's universally understood to be bad people. I guess libertarians assume otherwise, but fuck them, right? Right. She wakes up from this dream because a clock starts ticking. Now, Devin, We get a scene. I'm not sure if it was. It's shortly after this because Hacker Boy lives in a truck
RV.
outside, in an RV
she has
outside.
all those freaking rooms, and you can't just give him one. Are you like?
But no, that's the thing. You must have missed the scene because after she finds the clock and she goes to talk to him, she says, "I forget what I don't even know his name. I don't know anyone's name except for hers because it's the movie's poster." She says that we have 83 rooms in the house. Why can't you sleep inside?
Yeah, I missed that.
Now, yes, she says that. He likes it in there. So, because that was my first thought too. I'm like, you make him sleep outside? Fuck you. But no, like I guess it's his choice. Now, go back to when she heard the clock ticking. This mansion is gigantic. This clock has layers upon layers upon layers of wood paneling between it and her.
It's very
and
loud.
She hears it. She hears it. But it's not loud when she gets down there.
It's a sixth sense, you know.
It's just a dumb plot hole to pick apart for no reason. It really is. But
you just don't understand archaeology. She got a degree, right? In archaeology. It's a thing you learn.
Yeah. So she beats the shit out of her staircase to get to this clock. Then she gets Hacker Boy out. Butler is there for some reason. And she's like, take it apart. Now, this is one of the things where I'm like, Hacker Boy is 100% correct, even though he's being used as the butt of a joke in this instance. Devin, if you were given a mechanical thing, there's this mechanism, and there's all these pieces to it, and you're told to disassemble it, you would 100%, if you were smart, take notes at the very least,
take photos,
or remember
yeah.
This piece is this, and I'm putting it here. Mm-hmm. This is the first piece I took off. It goes in this top left corner of this grid. I'm second piece, third piece. He does that. The butler makes fun of him for it. If they need to put it back together again, he's gonna need to know where the pieces went.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just smart that way.
Other picky thing in this scene,
and then she smashes it.
Yes, one other picky thing too is he's like, I can't work without coffee. And the butler comes back. He's like, "Here's your decaf coffee." And I'm like, "Motherfucker! Like the reason you drink coffee is because you're tired and the caffeine. Who has decaf? Whatever. People who drink decaf coffee and say that they need it to like get up in the morning. I'm like, no, you don't.
I mean, you just like the taste. It's just a habit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Also,
know. It's weird to me.
when
It's
the butler brings that to him, apparently Lara Croft, she probably doesn't know this guy all that well because she's surprised at the thing that he always drinks is the thing that he drinks and makes judgmental eyes.
Just
like,
weird writing,
bitch.
that whole scene
you didn't know how to take apart a clock, and you woke him up at 2 a.m. Let him have his fucking coffee without the judgment.
And I still judged.
Yes. So there's this disc. Cool. And then she's like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I know someone who might. Right? And then we cut to the auction scene. She goes in, strolls in like a badass motherfucker. Just props her leg up sitting in this chair. I assumed she was going to bid on something. Like, that's what this whole thing was about. But no, she's sitting in there for no reason. Just because one of the auctioneers is the person she wants to go talk to. There is a stupid joke about her accidentally bidding on something for £2.4 million, even though she could afford it. Which I assumed that was going to be the joke, is she stuck with the thing. But nope, she got out of that. It's just, there's a lot of wasted potential in a lot of scenes like this, you know.
Yeah.
She sees the guy is an old friend of her father's, and he knows her, and he shows her the disc. And one thing, again, I appreciate about what, you know, showing agency in this character, and she makes decisions and actions, and she's smart, and she's not being told things, she's telling people things. She is basically laying it out to him like, hey, I assume this is a key because of the imprints on the back. Looks like it can line up with something like this. And look, it's not, it's counting in reverse, and it's blah, 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 blah. Like, it isn't just, what is this? And then the dude tells her, you know,
yeah.
There is that. You know what I mean?
Sorry,
like,
we forgot to mention Daniel Craig as an American.
That's right. Yes, he has a better American accent in this than any other movie he's been in where he's had to do an American accent, including Cowboys and Aliens. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good movie. They wanted gold. It was rare on all planets. What a fucking smart... Anyway.
Yeah.
I liked that movie.
It's kind of weird to see Daniel Craig doing an American accent and Angelina Jolie doing a British accent. Like,
yeah.
I'd imagine it'd be really hard for Daniel Craig not to, like, switch back when you're talking to someone in an accent that you have. I don't know. So,
well, Henry Cavill is British, and he does a very good American accent.
And he does a great Witcher accent as well.
Yes, and he does a good Superman accent, a good Kryptonian accent.
So yeah, she does talk to the old man, and here's where I have some beef. Ready? I don't know if you noticed this. So after she's done talking to him, she leaves, right? And it has her walking down the stairs for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, come on. Like, they're just showing to see her boobs bounce 100%. Like,
yeah.
Because you want to know why. Like, you might be like, no, they're trying to show her leaving this, like, the set or the room, leaving the scene, whatever. I'm like, no, because after that scene, they show him looking out the window and seeing her bike away. They could have cut straight to that. People would have understood, okay, she left. So I call bullshit sexist. There you go. Sexist flag I'm throwing there.
Yes, I mean, again, they really wanted to make sure that you knew who was actually leading on the poster.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, why was that scene there? Like, immediately when it happened, I looked at Britt and I'm like, what? Like, just cut to the motorcycle. Just
there's
cool.
a scene at the very end.
Driving the motorcycle's cool.
There's a scene at the very end where she's running, and we actually do see actual heft and bounce, and I'm like, damn. Like, they're like, quick, before the movie's over, let's make sure we get it done.
Yeah, come on, boys, let's get it done here.
In any case, so she has her answer, but the guy, well, she kind of knows more about it, but the guy's like, oh, I don't really know how to help you. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Blah, blah, blah. So she goes home. The guy seems to have had a change of heart, but actually he decided to betray her. Right?
She goes to our main villain there, Manfred Powell.
No, but before that, she's at home. It's late, and the dude at the auction house calls her and says, "You know what? Actually, I thought about it more. He had been drinking a lot.
Was it
we saw that? Way? Yes, because he tells her to go meet the dude you're about to talk about, and he's like, I know someone who can probably help you. It's so and so. Go here, and you'll see it." And then when he hangs up the phone with her, he apologizes. It says after he hangs up, apologizes to either her or her father. And it makes it believe that he is betraying her.
Maybe.
Which, again, obviously he's leading her to the villain. That's my assumption. But, like,
so maybe
why...
he's in the ill.
It's not like he was... We never see him being blackmailed or a part of the Illuminati scheme, you know what I mean? Like, he's in too deep or anything like that. He should have
had, like, a ring or something on his hand that you can quickly see. I don't know.
Or just a quick scene where it says that he owes them, you know? That they are always watching.
I totally
him.
missed that, honestly.
I don't blame you.
But yeah,
for
she
missing
does.
Something.
She goes to Manfred Powell there, and he's flirting with her a little bit. He wants to know more about it. He's like, "Oh, you didn't bring it in? You got photos?" It's like, "Yeah, because she's not stupid."
Right. Yeah, they're sitting in these giant chairs. They're talking about it. It's all, like I said, there's so much wasted time.
Yeah.
But in any case, turns out he can't really help her either. Oh, what's a shame. He doesn't even try to, like, say, can we see the thing? You know what I mean? It's just like, nope, I guess I can't help you. But it doesn't matter because he knows who has it now. That's all he really needs. Because later that night, before she goes to bed, she likes to do, like, these aerobic bungee jumps.
Yeah, I actually looked up whether or not she did the stunts, and she did some of the stunts, but the one that she actually did do all of was that whole scene, in the whole fighting scene with the SWAT team.
And there's a brief moment because, again, she has on her pajamas while she's doing it, and of course there's only like one or two buttons done on it, obviously, because when she's bouncing around, we need to see it, right? There was a brief moment where I'm like, wait a second, does she have like really good abs? I'm surprised if she had that they didn't want to show those off, but who knows? because she's jumping around, and that's when. Now, you peruse the internet often, and
Interneter.
you're a decent connoisseur of memes. So I'm sure you've seen either this in video clip form or in GIF form of a whole bunch of police officers raiding a house, and it's stupid. The dude falls through the ceiling. Random guy smashes a pot against the wall for no reason.
One recently there.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was because the Egg McMuffin was late.
Yeah.
We got him. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what this is. Just these idiots, and they can't shoot for shit. She's literally running around them, and they're standing in place, and they can't hit her with bullets. It's just this. It's
private military, dude. You don't know what you're gonna get sometimes.
Exactly. Apparently, they're all stormtroopers. You know how you make villains a threat? Make their lethal force actually lethal the first time you see them, But I get it. This is supposed to be a fun, lighthearted action film based off a video game. So I get it. Maybe kill the butler, though. Or Hacker Boy. Hacker Boy tries to fight back by starting up the robot. Thought we were going to get payoff to that because he said he was going to work on it to make it better. But nope, the robot's never done again. Butler guy takes forever to get a shotgun and a bulletproof vest and his slippers. And meanwhile, Lara Croft is just icing all of these guys. She is stunting on the hose, back and forth and up and down and sideways, and she's still tethered to both walls the whole time.
I will say I did like this scene. It was fun.
She's cutting cable. She's letting them shoot each other. She's tying people up and then letting them go. They fall down to their deaths or unconscious or blah, 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 blah. At one point, she learns that they're there to steal the disc. I'm just going to call it the disc because I forgot what they call it. Maybe a key. It's the disc. It's a disc.
Triangle of Light.
We're going to... No, that's what the ultimate thing that they're trying to find.
Okay, never mind.
The thing that's split into two like a fucking Zelda game. It's hidden in different temples like a fucking Zelda game. This is a better Zelda game movie than a Tomb Raider movie. They're going after the disc, and they're slowly what do I want to call it? Not soldering, torching.
C4ing?
No, because they have a torch. They're literally burning holes through all of the fence, whatever. They're slowly getting at the disc. And she is in her garage, and she has her Aston Martin. She has all of her expensive cars in there, and she's hiding. And Hacker Boy can see her on the camera, and he's being like, "Bad guy number one is over there." And she has not a power washer, but whatever the power washer equivalent to air, thing. And she puts a
screwdriver or something in it, right?
I thought it was like so when you're drilling something in, right? You have a drill bit in your drill, but if you can't have the drill close to where you need, like if it's down a shaft or something, you have an extender that sticks into your drill, and then you put the drill bit into the extender, so that's how you can reach it from afar. It looked like she stuck one of those in this air gun thing. In any case, she ices a dude with that. Thankfully, they do a good job of making her miss a few times, so she's not just the ultimate badass, but she gets rid of all these guys. She blows up all of her cars, essentially. She stunts off one of them on a motorcycle off one of her cars.
I did like the motorcycle thing she does, where she flips up the back wheel and knocks out the one guy. I'm like, I want to know how to do that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool to learn.
But they make off with the disc.
Oh no.
And everyone is they're not even sad. They're not.
Doesn't it cut to the FedEx driver, UPS driver coming in, listening to Get Your Freak On, and...
Yeah. Well, she's just like, I take it they got the disc. And Butler guy's like, yep, probably. And Hacker Boy's like, I think so. Oh. I mean, the house is shit.
Because she's so confident, she knows that she'll get it back.
The mansion has been raided, and it looks like they got the disc. The bad guys got the disc. I don't think we saw them take the disc, but they got the disc. And so it's the next day now, and we get this cut to this FedEx van.
UPS.
Or was it UPS?
I think it was UPS.
UPS.
Yeah. Listening to Get Your Freak On.
Yeah.
And
it's one of these, like, I don't know, like, it's the scene lasted too long, like this build up to the joke. Like, we got the punchline several times as he's walking through the mansion, like, oh, yep, it's the fact that he's confused because the mansion's probably destroyed. Yep, he's probably confused because yep. Okay, and then we see them sweeping and cleaning up. And I did like that one line she says, one of the only few, like, actual funny lines in this movie, is she says, I woke up this morning and decided it all needed to go. Like, that's, I had thought of it like, oh, that's a very good, like, Bruce Wayne playboy billionaire. I was gonna say
it's like a rich person
dumb
joke. Like, oh, I just hate this house. I burned it down because I can.
Yeah. Playing aloof. And turns out that FedEx or UPS, FedEx, man, I don't even, do they have those in England? I don't know. Are they
DHL?
Yeah. I got something from Japan from them, and they were very nice. Yeah, it turns out she's got a letter for her from her dead dad.
I was wondering, can you hold mail? Can I, like, send you a letter and be like, hey, don't send it to him, though, until 5 years from now? Like, assuming you don't move?
Maybe if you had, like, a security deposit box and, like...
I guess when you're that rich, anything's possible. You have a hookup, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to point out that the men are cleaning up and she's not, even though she's probably the reason why all of that damage is done there. But hey, she's paying them, right?
And she got this letter like 2 days after the whole start of the aligning of the planets, so I feel like it's kind of late. I feel like you could have timed it better, Dad. I don't know, because then she never would have gone to the bad guys. You know what I mean?
So she opens with the letter, and it is I guess a poem,
William Blake,
or maybe a stanza from some greater piece. There's something, and you see the something, and see the world in a grain of sand, blah 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 blah. And I've told you this before. I'm going to say this again on here. When I first had seen this in the movie, I got this really weird flashback because I did not know William Blake. I mean, I probably had learned about him, but then, like, forgot. Mm-hmm. So when I'm seeing this, I'm like, wait a second. I've heard this before, and I've seen these words before. My mind immediately flashed then to the fucking Death Stranding trailer where we see naked Norman Reedus wake up on a beach, and the text pops up on the screen. It's this poem. And I remember after that trailer, it's like, oh yeah, Kojima lifted that from something because he's, he wants to, but put these kinds of things in to add bigger meaning, to his stuff or whatever. And for a brief second, I'm like, did he pull this shit from the Tomb Raider movie? And then, no, it's actually a famous author. So
British author.
Yes. So she's like, oh, William Blake. I have a William Blake book in my giant mansion with 83 rooms. And turns out that there's a hidden Cards Against Humanity card in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's what was it? What was in there?
I think it was
something because she got a video.
No, it was a VH.
She got a video.
It was like was it a floppy disk or something? It was some sort of.
I guess that could fit.
It was some sort of thumb drive of some sort that you can
some diskette.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's her dad's party mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Benny Hill. 24-hour loop.
So he tells her via Dead Man Video, Ghost Video, that there's this triangle and it controls time, and it got split in half, and when the planets aligned, this meteor, and that's where the triangle's from, because they melted it down, it controls time, but they broke it because it's obviously a fucking powerful thing, and they hit each half in 2 different temples on opposite ends of the globe. The first one is I'm not going to say Cambodia, I'm just going to tell you it's where this flower grows, and it's the only place this flower grows, and it's our little secret, because I showed you this flower in the flashback. And she's like, I gotta go to Cambodia. Good thing I know all of the culture over there and how to speak their language and their customs and everything, because Lara Croft, also I was in the military. Here's a quick photograph of me with my squad mates. Where are we dropping, boys? Well, you're gonna drop me down in a car, parachute me down in my car. So she lands in Cambodia.
I like how the bad guys don't see or hear a helicopter, being like, why would there ever be a helicopter here?
we're the only rich people around, you
Yeah.
know, in this third world country.
I wish we had. Yeah, I wish we knew more about this quad that she was in. We need a prequel movie.
Maybe the sequel. I don't know. There is a sequel, right? I forget
Temple
what it's
of
called.
Light or something.
Nah, I thought that's what this movie's
Triangle
about.
of Light. Yeah. Whatever.
Whatever. Cradle of Life. That's what it is.
Oh, close.
Because
Cradle of
I got
Light,
the movie
Cradle of
poster. So yeah, meanwhile, James Bond, aka Daniel Craig, and the Game of Thrones guy, Pablo Picasso, are going through this jungle, and they got all of these guys who they hopefully paid to pull down the statue because it's blocking the door to this temple. Meanwhile, Lara Croft sees a ghost girl. She like disappears and reappears. It's weird. Shows her the back entrance to this temple, and we get this dueling planes of action thing where both parties go in from separate directions, and they see the same situation from different angles. And Lara Croft's up above, sneaking, and she's doing the Assassin's Creed thing where she can't get too far away.
Though, she fell. I counted like a good 5 seconds straight and didn't get one scratch on her, and she was able to grab the vines without fucking up her hands. I thought that was very impressive.
I mean, it's true. I mean, this is how you show that a character is not vulnerable at all to anything. Is to always have her win. Well, she does miss a couple shots in that mansion fight. So, Daniel Craig and Pablo Picasso are like, we need to activate the disc here, because they have the disc, remember? Mm-hmm. And she's watching, she's like, oh shit, no, it doesn't go on the floor, it goes up in this corner. And I guess I know this. I better tell them. So she says, stop. She says, don't do that. I don't know why it would make you think that if you do put it in there, you're fucked. Because if it's not the right solution to this video game movie puzzle, you can then take it out. That's how a video game would work, I guess.
Well, I think it's because it's timed. Like they said, oh, we only have 30 seconds to pick one spot.
But they were constantly counting down. Okay, it's the next minute now. So
whatever.
I don't know. Whatever. You're right. Tension. So she now reveals herself to them. They toss her the disc. She puts it in the wall. And then, bam, this pillar comes out, and we're going to smash the Easter egg in the center of the room.
Easter egg, yeah.
It's not enough. She jumps on it.
Hits the G
smashes
spot.
It.
Squirts all over everybody. Just kidding.
Exactly. This liquid hot metal.
Yeah. So hot.
And the triangle's there. And, Pablo Picasso's reaching for it, or maybe it was Daniel Craig, I don't know. But Lara Croft, she's just too fast. Faster than all the boys. She grabs the triangle. And they're like, well, fuck you, bitch. And they start shooting at her, but she gets out. All of the statues that were there come to life. Oh, sorry. Before they see the hole in the floor, James Bond very smartly sees this giant statue towards the back of the room with all these arms. I don't know if it's Vishnu or someone holding swords in its hands. And he's like, we got to put these swords in these slots on the ground. So he's very smart about that. Now,
he's a Tomb Raider.
He also, I would have been like, okay, if this was an actual puzzle, be like, all right, guys, hold all these swords next to each other in parallel. Let's see if any of them are different. Oh, this one's a segment longer. Let's, but nope, they're all identical. Doesn't matter. In any case, those swords come back because when that thing comes to life to attack them, it summons the swords to its hands, which is, I guess, kind of cool. A bunch of people die, except anyone that's important.
All the clay monsters sound like a Jurassic Park Velociraptor sound effects, but turned down.
Yep. Maybe they used the same Foley artists.
Yeah.
They're like, I have this tape of our Velociraptor. We can just use the tape here.
Just reverse it. They won't know.
Exactly. Lara Croft gets out, and she sees she's now in civilian territory. I guess she's rich, so she can do whatever she wants. But she has really nice clothes, and she was shot in the arm, and some main master monk or whatever, who I guess knows her, or is aware of her, or maybe more so aware of her father and knows the father or something like that.
Yeah.
Gives her this tea. It tastes bad, but it's fucking magic. And so it heals her gunshot wound to the arm. If you didn't realize she was shot in the arm, audience member, it's because she didn't flinch And when she asks for a phone, you can see she has a bullet wound. She's bleeding out of the arm, but she's not in any pain. Because I
What if
guess
it was like
she's
Deadpool
Batman.
and she just has like a perfect hole through her arm and she just doesn't care? Like, just she's on the phone and you can just see like a light go between her biceps.
I mean, to be quite honest, she's basically Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Without the suit.
Dead parents.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the bad guy killed her dad. But, like, she's rich, inherited a rich thing. I guess is using it for good, but let's be real. Up until this point, she was just being selfish. You know what I mean? I assume she was stealing treasures for herself, whatever.
Yeah, and then she does the international call with the bad guy, and they're like, oh, we both need each other to get this done. And he's like, oh, meet me in Venice at this street in Italian. And it's like, oh, yeah, sure. They don't say a time or anything because movie magic.
And, of course, like, he needs her because she has half of the triangle. He needs both halves to summon Time Lord, Chrono Trigger. And she needs him because... Why?
They don't explain it. She needs to be the one to see it, dude, I guess.
Because she is trying to stop the bad guys from unleashing time control magic. And she already has that. It's locked away.
And she still doesn't even know
half
that
of
they're
the triangle
yet either. So it's like, do you know who you're messing with? Like, maybe just not give the ill, who I would have thought was a meme, power to control time. I don't know, just me.
It's just weird. This is like there needed to be something. Even if it was like, we have your stupid brother or whatever this guy's was. So you need to help us. Like it should have been, no, you need to.
That should have would have happened. I think how it should have went down was during the house invasion, they grab the triangle and get like one of them hostage.
You mean the disc?
You get the disc and then the like the hacker boy.
Maybe instead of hostage kidnapping, then you do it on the way out of that first temple there.
Yeah,
so like oh, she thinks she's getting out. But of course she went alone, so there's no reason to bring any of them with her.
But they could have easily, like when she's gone, could have sent, like he could have had like a FaceTime or something.
When she goes to do that international call, she calls Hacker Boy too. She does 2 separate calls,
and then
so then he calls her, but bad guy picks up instead. You know what I mean? Boom.
Damn! Wow. Look at that. We already made that plot better.
We're a shitty YouTube channel. We solved the movie.
We solved it.
God, I hate becoming the things I hate. Let's play a little doorbell sound effect every single time we think something's bad in this movie. And have a counter in the top.
We're at number 54 right now. I've been counting.
Exactly. The movie's just fine. So, time to go to Venice, and that's when she learns that when they say it's time to get ill, they actually mean the Illuminati. And she is kind of an interesting scene where, again, she is in control. No one's making her do anything, so to speak, in terms of, female character, female-led, film. Because as he's trying to say, like, we should work together and we need to do this and that, she's like, who sits here in this big fancy center chair? Because it ain't you, is it? Like, she's just trying to, like, get under his skin a bit, and then she sits in the chair, and then he sits in the chair next to him. He's like, actually, I sit here. And he's lying because they all treated him like he was just a henchman to them. So there's no way he is, like, literally the right hand.
Yeah. He's a
Illuminati
pawn.
man.
He's a pawn.
He's 100%.
He's a checker. He's not even a pawn. He's a checker. He's in the wrong board game.
Motherfucker needs to get to the other side of the field if he wants to even become a double-stacked checker.
Wish you can do triple stacking and checkers. Like all of a sudden you can move twice or something.
I think it's only double stacked if your checkers are the same size, same image on both sides. Because like why are we talking about checkers? Boom, snow time. She's dressed like Trinity from The Matrix, but all white because it's no longer after Labor Day. And Hacker Boy's with her. They're on the plane. Daniel Craig is like... oh, yeah, we forgot the hot, steamy shower scene.
Oh, yeah, because we were... I was going to say that in the forest or the Amazon, wherever they were, I forgot.
Cambodia.
Cambodia. Daniel Craig looked a little skinny, and I was a little worried. But I did not expect
just the what does Chris Brown call it? The thrust bucket.
Yeah, I was gonna say we get a full body shot and
V.
more. We almost get the V.
Yes.
We almost get the full V there.
We see the wings of the V.
I think it should have been more
Yes.
fair because they showed like a side boob of Angelina Jolie. I think we should have saw a side dick.
Testicle.
Just
one testicle.
Like a shot from underneath his butt cheeks.
Ugh. He probably was actually seen from the back naked in one of his movies.
I mean, as an actor, I'm sure that's like part of the thing.
Hugh Jackman was. So
yeah, then her and Daniel like talk or whatever, and there's like differences between them, but there's still buzz. They've banged before too, definitely. That's where we get that. Like they've had a romantic relationship at some point.
100%.
But
yeah.
Now we're off to
the races.
Siberia.
We're in a shitty plane. Daniel Craig is like, "Why is she with us?" And Pablo Picasso is like, "Why have one Tomb Raider when you can have two?" Just name dropping the movie. Boom, we land. We get a vaguely racist scene where Hacker Boy is trying to talk to the locals, trying to give them money for their sled dogs, and he's saying, "We pay for doggies. We pay for doggies. Green America." You know, it's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not. It's more innocent than it is malicious, obviously, but it's just like people don't actually talk like the other person is stupid when you speak different languages. You know?
Yeah, it's more of just like speak English.
If you want to talk simply, because
do you speak
basic
English?
bold words.
Maybe
yeah.
you say speak English, but you don't say it. Speak English? Hey, do you speak?
Or just
do you speak English? Dum dum. I don't speak your language because I'm actually dumb, but you're the dumb.
It's the international language. If only our schooling system taught us better. So now we are on a sled with multiple dogs pulling us to temple number 2.
Here's my nitpicky part here. Once again, back to like objectification. Everyone else has normal winter coats, as you would in Siberia. And it looks like they shot this actually in some snow area because it wasn't like a set until we get to the actual temple. But everyone's wearing their suits, keeping warm. And then there's Lara Croft having her whole jacket open and having her tight-ass shirt underneath or whatever. It looks like a elastic, or I don't know what it really was, like a dry fit or something. Which, like, I understand, like, if you're you want to be agile or like going through tight spaces, maybe to get behind a wall or something, that you have to wear tighter clothing. I totally get it, but like, why couldn't she just wear a winter jacket like everyone else? I don't know. Like, it'd be different if other people had
She's
open
stylish,
jackets.
man. She's got that money.
I guess
she doesn't care what people think.
I guess I can understand. I guess both arguments, but I don't know. I just feel like it just felt unnecessary again. Where like. Would in real life, even if like they were flaunting maybe more than other people would, it's freaking Siberia. Like, you're not. This isn't like Hawaii. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
we are now inside another temple. Oh yeah, she rang a bell, and that caused everyone's ears to explode, and that opened up the cave door.
How funny would it be if it panned over and everyone's ears are bleeding? But hers,
right.
hers, of course, are fine because she's used to it.
They're in there. Oh, excuse me. Movie's boring. We got a solar system model, a giant solar system model. We got this big sun, and all these planets are revolving around it on large metal arms. They're carrying them around, and we get, it's probably in the middle of the sun, isn't it? Yep, we got to climb this. So, Daniel Craig and Angelina Jolie. Nathan
dudes.
Drake and Lara Croft up there. Yep. But I don't think the other guys climb up.
No, they do. Remember, they get hit and fall in the water.
I think that was.
They were all trying to climb up.
It had to have been during a moment of tension because I think they just send him at first and she joins him.
Well, I think they're just trying to like beat her in a way. Like, they needed her to get there, but I don't know. It was weird. I know there's other people there. They were falling off.
Yeah.
And then she makes it in and grabs the piece or whatever.
Yeah. So then, also, I guess the actual Illuminati themselves joined us in this venture because time is ticking, man. Planets are aligning like now. We need to put these triangles together now. We can't wait back in Venice where the Illuminati
We can't wait
live.
for
we
Pluto.
Need to do it
we can't
here.
wait for Pluto. That is maybe a planet.
No.
I don't know. Does that count in that planets? I don't know.
Nope. Nope. Probably not. Well, I mean, it's 2001. It's pre 9/11, so Pluto was still a planet. Well, in their eyes,
that was the game changer.
Yeah. So yeah, it's this old man. He's talking. He's like, "I'm blah 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 blah," and he puts the pieces together, and nothing happens. Or wait, no, wait.
You forgot
Sorry.
about the time.
He
storm.
doesn't actually get to put them together. Yeah, there's the time storm.
Yeah, that's where the dog jumps through, goes from regular dog
from
to
skin
muscle dog
to just bones, and then back again because time, even though that's not how people work.
And we have one of the dumbest comments in this movie from Laura, just saying, or someone asks like, "What is that?" And she's like, "Time storm." Clearly, and it's like,
you're like, "You never seen a time storm?"
Yeah, like I'm a professional Tomb Raider. Like I was curious whether or not Daniel Craig was going to be like, "Oh yeah, duh," like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
Textbook time storm right there.
Yeah, obviously. And you could tell because of this example we just saw where the dog wakes up that, actually looks like it decomposes the person, not sends them back in time, but whatever. Illuminati guy's about to put the triangles together, but nope, Pablo Picasso's like, "I'm running the show now." He has all of his guys who are loyal to him and his artistic talents, blow them all to pieces. And so now he's going to put the triangle together. And he goes, "Dink." Nope, it doesn't fit. What? Tink, tink, tink. Oh, it's not. Lara Croft, you trickster. You know something. And I know you know how to make this work. And time is ticking. You're not no more games. I'm going to take my tiny little needle knife and throw it leisurely at Daniel Craig, who will now die.
And it's the worst death ever. Like, it sucks for him, but also just like it had no emotion to it. Like, I just said, "No, Daniel," as like a more of a joke, being like, because I actually didn't give a shit if he died. Like he like gets like stabbed, right, and then he like slowly falls back into the water, and then he gets crushed in the gears, but doesn't scream for pain. And then she jumps in there to like give him air or give him a kiss. I'm not really sure.
Maybe a little of both.
A little bit of both. And then he like, I guess he's dead. And then she comes out and she's not like super pissed. She's just like, "I gotta stop him," kind of like. And I was just very confused, as if like, did you actually give a shit that he just died? Because I'd be like screaming my head off. I'd be like, "You just fucking killed him. You just,"
exactly.
Or I would have been screaming at the part where you just killed all your own people and been like, "Okay, you're a little fucked up, dude."
Yeah, it's the Illuminati.
It's the
So she's like, okay. She busts the disc open because turns out there's a tiny little grain of sand size piece of this triangle left. Duh. Obviously.
Didn't you read the walkthrough?
She puts it in the center of the thing, and then boom, triangles together. And then we cut, I guess, to the two of them, her and Pablo Picasso, on like in another realm on this giant pyramid.
Yeah.
And the triangle's at the top, and they're at the base, and they're running up the pyramid to grab it. She gets it first.
That was actually deeper for Death Chamber there. It was actually
exactly from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes.
You need to put context whenever you say the Death Chamber.
I said deeper for Death Chamber. People know.
No one's going to know that.
If you're a Sonic fan, you listen to this, you know.
This isn't about. There's no Sonic anything to do with our podcast at all. No one knows who Sonic is.
Also, I want to say this
Sonic
movie was
real.
a Paramount movie, which ties back into Sonic. Everything ties in on this show, indirectly.
Oh, okay, yeah. Steven Spielberg makes movies. So she has a triangle, and then now she gets to see her dad, who says, "My God, my daughter's a bimbo." No, but
that'd be so fun.
he was like, "What the?" He's like, "Oh, I knew my little 7-year-old girl would come up to be this treasure hunting archaeologic badass I envisioned. like a parent that wants to control their child's life.
I always knew you'd be
Right?
good at golf that I forced you to play
Yeah.
every day after 5 o'clock.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. I told you would like LeBron, so that's why I made you play basketball every day after school. Yes, I get it. You're 4'2", but I guess it'd be kind of tall for a kid, depending on the age. But yeah. So now she goes back to her present, and she saves Daniel Craig by painfully twisting the knife while it's being mid-tossed at him back, so that instead the momentum of the knife boomerangs back into Pablo Picasso's chest. I guess Daniel Craig, for all of his ripped, physique, he was still papier-mâché to this knife, because Pablo Picasso, you look like he's down, but he's actually just fine.
What's funny, too, is when he gets hit with the knife, everyone else is just like, okay, time to go.
Time to go.
Yeah,
Yep.
as if, they were just waiting for someone to win at that point, or, fall over,
Right.
and they're like, okay, sure.
I mean, I guess these were the guys that killed their boss's boss. So there is, a lot of questioning of loyalty and lines, and I guess,
Paychecks.
I mean, if it comes down to ruling time or having to continue to do this podcast with you, I'm killing you and ruling time, Devin, and I hope you understand that. So
It depends on
And
what
no,
you're
I
doing with
can't-
that time, because if you have the time, you could just bring me back, and then it's a win-win.
It's okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you that before I kill you. So then she's about to leave too. British Jesse Eisenberg is there. We didn't mention him at all, but whatever. Hacker Boy is there, and everyone's about to leave, but Pablo Picasso is just too smart. He knows how to rile up this stoic, emotionless woman that he apparently knows so much about. He knows how to rile her up. She didn't emote at all when Daniel Craig died, but if I bring out this locket of her mama, then she's gonna, and I tell her that her dad begged for his life. That's how I get to win.
And it does a flashback to him shooting her dad
Yeah.
on a cliff in the middle of some
on
jungle.
a cliff in the jungle. Right. But it looked like they were having a museum dispute kind of conversation. Anyway.
No, we're opening the museum in London, not Brussels. Bam.
So yeah, now it's time to do the classic good guy and bad guy have weapons. Bad guy says, let's fight mano a mano, just our fists. So they put the weapons down and they start punching and fighting and kicking and screaming and roaring and cheerleading and all that.
And this fight was a
jazz.
lot
And
better than most of the fights in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Is this our best fight in our movie, or so far in the 3 video game movies we've watched?
I will say that Alice in Resident Evil had some cool gun stuff going on when she learned that she was a badass. But I will say this is probably the best choreography going on, for sure. I forget his first name, but the actor Shao in Mortal Kombat was clearly a trained martial artist, but he was never fighting anyone else that was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can say that. But it's the classic thing where a bad guy makes them fight with fists, and then the bad guy starts to lose, so he grabs his weapon again. Oh, that's not fair. A hero has to fight with honor. It's the villain that does the trickery
I'm sorry.
stuff.
I would say that, and I would...
Unlike Han Solo.
Even if I was a good guy, I'd be like, no, I'm just going to use what I have. Why make it... There's no respect thing when no one's here to see it. Like, what am I going to do? Like, when I leave...
It's not a pride thing either.
Yeah, when I leave this whole time tunnel bullshit, am I going to be like, man, I just shot him. I should have just fought him normally. That really wasn't fair. Like, this is the fate of the world, I thought. No? I don't know. Yeah, I would just have been like, no, I'm going to pull out the guns that I have and just take my shot.
But to be fair now, Devin, to be fair, Vin Diesel fell for the same thing when Jason Statham did it to him in Fast 7. So,
You're right.
Yep. Although they did fight with wrenches, which is badass. So now she's punching and she's punching and she's punching and he's punching and he's punching and she wins.
She gets a nice jugular shot, which I thought was solid.
Yep.
Looked like it hurt.
And then it's go time, baby, and now gets the dogs and she's sledding away. She's not on a sled. She's just
that was so
using her heels.
I hated that part. Like I thought it was. I get they were trying to make it look cool, but I'm like, that just wouldn't work. I just know it wouldn't work.
Yeah, you would need to have your leg muscles, your pelvic area muscles, your torso, your abs, everything so like rigidly set so that because all it takes, Devin, is for your left leg to move slightly to the left,
and
you're
going to fall backwards or fall
and
forwards.
then boom, you have a split. You have a split. You fell on your ass. You fell forward, and you smashed your face against ice.
What would have been more realistic is if she was just on her stomach and they were just dragging her, like,
or even just on her own ass.
Yeah,
you know?
even then, and like also like snow isn't like when you go sledding or anything, like there's like sometimes it's icier than normal, and like that doesn't mean.
Well, this was on solid ice, but like
even then,
that doesn't mean it's a completely smooth single sheet. You know,
yeah,
what I
it wasn't
mean?
like she was wearing like I'm sure she was wearing
this
like
is a
boots
cave.
too. And boots aren't made.
Right.
Boots are made to grip, not slide. So unless she was wearing her socks or something,
all it takes is a tiny little crack or rock, and she's dead. She could have used anything as a sled, but whatever. She's badass Lara Croft. She makes it out. I guess everyone else did too.
Yeah, everyone was fine. Yeah, even the bad guys, I guess. I don't know.
Right?
They never actually talked about that. Did like they fight their way out, or did they all agree to just feel like, yeah, that was fucking stupid?
Peace. This was a paycheck. See ya. No hard
feelings.
But
who's paying you now when your boss dies and your boss's boss dies?
Paid ahead of time. Who cares? I mean, hey, they know where his hideout is. All the Illuminati are dead. Fuck it, take the money. Yeah, that's my real question. You left a gigantic hole of power in this world.
In the ill, which is supposed to be like the overarching power over everything.
Someone is going to fill this void. Is this the sequel's plot? Am I actually intrigued?
I doubt it is.
I guarantee they're going to forget all of this shit.
Oh yeah,
time.
It's going to be
Illuminati. All of it.
It's going to be another third-party person looking for something, and then she's also looking for it. And now
the cradle of life, I guess.
Yeah, or someone's going to be dying, and she needs to save them.
All it takes is for some henchman who had big plans, but he was in a position that he could never do anything with. Now he's in charge, or but like nope. So and the movie's over.
Yeah,
where's your head at? Where's your head at?
Well, they go to. There's like a cut to like them back at the mansion, and she's like wearing all nice clothes, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is different for you, wow!" And then.
Here's some guns.
And then the robot comes and here's some guns, and then it cuts to black with the credits, and it's like, yeah.
She's back on her bullshit. Nothing's changed. And that's the movie. So, yay us. This movie was fine. It did things that I think we thought were fine, and then it was fine. We gave our original thoughts on the movie at the beginning of this recap, so I think everything we're about to say is going to be repeat information. But do we think that this is better than Resident Evil or Mortal Kombat?
I think it's better than Mortal Kombat, but I don't know. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat more because of how goofy and stupid it was.
So then, how do you want to rank this?
I think Resident Evil is number one.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Okay.
You know that movie's a little boring at moments? It just felt more cohesive than both Mortal Kombat.
It just felt cooler. It felt cooler.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't embarrassed to be watching it as I was with Tomb Raider, even though I was alone. I mean, my cat could judge, I guess,
Your neighbor is next door hearing bad British
he's still
accents.
Practicing his record scratching.
I say Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider.
Why not? I can agree with that.
I mean, it's like I can hear the argument for either Tomb Raider or Mortal Kombat, but I just enjoyed Mortal Kombat more. Like, I was laughing and having a fun time with that film in a way that like I would do that again if I had friends over and we just wanted to shoot the shit while having a bad movie on.
I want to know, I want to meet someone that's actually a giant Tomb Raider fan and what they think about this movie. like when they watched it back in the day, and then also now, you know.
Yeah, we gotta. If you're a Tomb Raider fan and listening to this, let us know. I'm very curious what you think. Maybe we're totally wrong and they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah. So why don't you let us know your opinions on this Tomb Raider movie, and reach us on Twitter. The show can be reached at Sonic Movie Show. Me, Ethan, I'm on Twitter. What? I have been Ethan, and I am on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Devin here is on Twitter at CURSONA YouTube. When you're done telling us how you liked this Tomb Raider movie or didn't like this Tomb Raider movie, why don't you go ahead and make sure that you're subscribed to us on the different podcast services you use, like iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, if that's still a thing, YouTube, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, etc. And just did you like this movie?
Did you hate this movie?
It's third on our list, and that's last.
Are you going to go raid your own tomb? Do you think you can do it?
Exactly. God, I hope the sequel is better than this movie.
If we watch the sequel.
But, I mean, they stopped after the sequel, so maybe it wasn't.
What?
Who knows?
I mean, from what I've read, I heard it's money. It was money reasons, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it always is. Like, you can have a great film, and if it just does hot trash...
I mean, again, this movie made triple digits.
Yeah.
It more than doubled Mortal Kombat, which was the highest lead in a video game movie, and this movie would remain number one for like a decade.
Yeah.
So clearly, there was money involved, as a reason why to continue. So, in any case, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Tomb Raiders.